Control your mind or lose your life. Chapter 2. Your thoughts are not facts. Let's get something clear right now. Just because you think something does not make it true. Read that again. Your thoughts are not facts. But most people live as if they are. They believe every doubt. They trust every fear. They obey every negative idea that shows up in their mind. And that's where they lose control. Because if you believe everything you think, then your mind is controlling you, not the other way around. Think about how often your mind lies to you. It tells you, you're not ready. You're going to fail. They're better than you. This won't work. You always mess things up. It sounds convincing. It feels real. But that doesn't make it true. That's the trap. Your brain is designed to protect you, not empower you. It looks for danger. It assumes the worst. It tries to keep you safe by keeping you small. So when you step outside your comfort zone, your mind reacts. It sends fear. It sends doubt. It sends resistance. And if you don't question it, you obey it. That's how people stay stuck for years. You need to break that pattern. And it starts with one shift. Stop believing every thought. Start questioning them. That's the key. You have a choice. You can accept every thought that enters your mind, or you can challenge it. And from now on, you challenge it. Here's how it works. A thought shows up. I can't do this. Old you believe it. You stop. You hesitate. New you pause. You remember, my thoughts are not facts. And then you ask, is this actually true? Or is this just fear speaking? Most of the time, it's fear. Not logic, not reality, just fear. Let's break it down. Fear is loud. Fear is repetitive. Fear sounds urgent. But fear is not always right. In fact, most of the time, it's wrong. It's trying to protect you from discomfort. But discomfort is where growth happens. So if you listen to fear, you avoid growth. If you avoid growth, you stay the same. And if you stay the same, nothing changes. That's the cycle. Now, let's talk about overthinking, because this is where most people lose control. They don't just have thoughts, they loop them again and again. What if this goes wrong? What if I fail? What will people think? What if I'm not good enough? And the more they think, the worse it gets, because they treat those thoughts like facts. They build stories around them. They create problems that don't even exist yet. That's a mental weakness, not because you have thoughts, but because you don't control them. You need to understand something powerful. You are not your thoughts. You are the one observing them. That's the separation. That's where control begins. A thought appears, but you don't have to attach to it. You don't have to follow it. You don't have to believe it. You can let it pass, just like a cloud. But most people don't do that. They grab the thought, they hold on to it, they build emotion around it, and then they act based on it. That's how a simple thought turns into anxiety, turns into hesitation, turns into inaction, all because they didn't question it. So from now on, you will develop a new habit. Every negative thought gets challenged. Every doubt gets questioned. Every fear gets examined. You slow it down and you ask, is this true? Is this useful? Is this helping me move forward? If the answer is no, you let it go. Simple. Not easy, but simple. Let's make this practical. You're about to start something important, a project, a goal, a new step, and your mind says, you're not ready. That thought feels real, but is it? Or is it just your brain trying to keep you safe? You pause, you breathe, and you say, that's just a thought, not a fact. And then you replace it. I will figure it out. I can learn as I go. I don't need to be perfect to start. Now you've taken control. Here's another one. You're going to fail. That thought stops people instantly. But think about it. Can you predict the future? No. So how can that be a fact?
It can't. It's just a projection, a guess, based on fear. So you challenge it. I don't know if I'll fail, but I know I won't quit. That's strength. That's control. Let's go deeper. Sometimes the thoughts are not loud. They're subtle, quiet, but it's dangerous. I'll do it later. This isn't the right time. I need to think more. Sounds reasonable, sounds logical, but most of the time, it's just avoidance. It's fear in disguise. And if you don't catch it, you delay your life. You have to become aware. You have to catch these patterns, because once you see them, they lose power. That's the key. Awareness creates distance. Distance creates control. Now, listen carefully. You will not eliminate negative thoughts. That's not the goal. The goal is not silence. The goal is control. Even the strongest minds have doubts. Even the most successful people feel fear. The difference, they don't believe everything they think. They filter it. They question it. They choose which thoughts to act on. That's where you're going. That's who you're becoming. Someone who doesn't get controlled by random thoughts. Someone who decides what to believe. Someone who directs their mind instead of being dragged by it. And this requires repetition. Every day, every situation, every time a thought tries to take control, you remind yourself, my thoughts are not facts. Say it again. My thoughts are not facts. That's your anchor. That's your reset. Let's connect this to your actions, because thoughts lead to actions. If you believe weak thoughts, you take weak actions. If you believe strong thoughts, you take strong actions. So the quality of your life depends on the quality of what you choose to believe, not what appears in your mind, but what you accept as truth. This is where most people get it wrong. They try to control their life without controlling their thoughts. That doesn't work, because everything starts in the mind. Every decision, every action, every result, it all begins with a thought. So if you don't control that, you don't control anything. But now you know. Now you see the pattern. Now you have the tool. You pause. You question. You choose. Again and again. Until it becomes natural. And when this clicks, you stop being held back by fear. You stop overthinking everything. You stop doubting every step. And you start moving. With clarity, with confidence, with control. Final takeaway. Not every thought deserves your attention. Not every thought deserves your belief. And not every thought deserves your action. You have a choice. Believe everything and stay stuck. Or question everything and take control. That's the key. And in the next chapter, we go even deeper. Because even when you control your thoughts, there's still one thing that can break your progress. Your inconsistency. Your reliance on motivation. And here's the truth. Motivation will fail you. Discipline won't.